Good morning, students, parents, tutors, educators, teachers, and everyone else who is viewing this video. I'm just so excited to share with you about this book. This book is Mathematics Buddy for Secondary 2 G1. I'm Rebecca, and here I am sharing with you a book that will help you in your lower secondary of G1 to accomplish and understand algebra in a way that gives good foundation in terms of application and in terms of the right knowledge. Now, this book is also relevant for students who are in the G2 or the G3 stream and in secondary 1, and if you really want to have a very solid foundation in terms of what you have learned or are going to learn. This book will be helpful for you for all topics covered in algebra except for the topic of factorization, which will only be covered in G1 in secondary 3. Hence, it has been omitted in this book. Now let me show you about what this book entails. So this book has topics from the G2 mathematics syllabus, algebra topic, and you can see here that in chapters 1, 2, and 3, we are dealing with adding, subtracting linear algebraic expressions, simplifying linear algebraic expressions involving brackets. Thirdly, we have one that requires us to learn how to simplify linear algebraic fractions. When you come to hearing about the word fractions, for some of us, it might just chase us away a little. But don't worry, this book has really good examples to tide you through in terms of the understanding and to allow you to really appreciate what these subtopics are all about, so that you are ready to face questions regarding them. Okay. Following that, we have a topic for reviewing chapters 1 to 3. Okay. And moving on, it would be dealing with linear equations. So chapter 4 would be solving linear equations in one variable, followed by the last topic, which involves solving for linear equations, however, in a real world context. So I've named it solving problems involving forming a linear algebra equation in one variable. Subsequently, we have review for chapters 4 and 5. And the very last portion of this book is one that I'm really excited about, because this last component, which entails the final review of secondary 1 and 2 algebra topics, basically brings together all content with regards to algebra that has been covered for lower secondary G1 algebra. So this book is really comprehensive in terms of the coverage, and allow me some time to go through the various components of the book with you. Similar to the first book for secondary 1, this book has got various worked examples, step-by-step explanation, and it has a let's think component whereby you actually think, or learners actually think about why certain steps are being done. This is what we call metacognition, basically meaning thinking about what you are thinking, giving meaning to what you are thinking. Okay, so having good metacognition really raises our stakes and our bar in terms of understanding to allow us to apply questions well. Now, I'm also going to move on to the next component that we have in this book, and it would be the various reviews. So this is how an example of review 1 to 3 looks like. Okay, and these questions are crafted very similarly to how they have been crafted in the exercises in their individual subtopics. For the more challenging topics, such as the last one, whereby we deal with solving problems involving forming a linear equation in one variable, well, there's extensive notes for the learner to go through, to read, to digest, and to make sense of. There are definitely a lot of things to look into, but the presentation is not crowded in such a way that it will overwhelm. So I hope that these visuals will really help to break down what complicated topics there are covered in algebra, to make it something that is maybe perhaps easier to understand and not too fearful to encounter. Finally, allow me to show you about the final review of Secondary 1 and 2 algebra topics. And this is really a compilation of all the learning outcomes from Secondary 1 and 2 algebra. Okay, so if you have actually purchased the Secondary 1 Mathematics Buddy, you would find similar questions in here that have been useful set in the final review over here. Okay, and this will indeed be a good practice and exercise for your child before he or she goes for his end of year examination at the end of Secondary 2. Similar to the first book that I have written, the answer key here is rather detailed, okay? And I do provide work solutions. So that there is a good follow through. Now for questions that might be a little bit more challenging. Now for example, when we deal with the topic on algebraic expressions, okay, putting them together, I have actually left little hints or some reasons to why one step actually leads to another, so that will close any gaps with regards to confusion. Well, I hope that this book will truly serve your needs and your child's needs in terms of learning algebra, so that he or she can approach the following year in Secondary 3 with confidence. All the best, and see you at the bookstore.